Hello and welcome to this NDTV World Exclusive. We are in a Trump golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey, about 2 hours from New York, to interview the man himself, Donald Trump, who finds himself at the heart of a storm that has gripped American politics. As Trump plans to run again for president, he is battling not just his political rivals, but charges from the FBI, which has accused him of concealing or taking away sensitive documents, to the charge that he may have attempted to overturn the results of the last election. We'll get to ask him what all of this means for his political career, but also, if there was to be a Trump 2.0, what will that mean for American democracy, for the world, and for India? Also with us will be Shalabh Kumar. He's the Indian-American businessman and a big-time supporter of President Trump, who's founded something called the Republican Hindu Coalition, which he says will deliver the Indian-American or the Hindu-American vote, as Shalabh Kumar likes to call it, to President Trump, and someone who's been instrumental in facilitating this interview. So we'll get into all of that with both of them in this big exclusive. Thank you both so much for being with us, President Trump. Let me just ask you to see both of you back together again. Is this all an indication that you are now set on the road to 2024?
Well, look,
momentum.
Everyone wants me to run. I'm leading in the polls, in every poll, the Republican polls and in Democrat polls, and I'll make a decision in the very near future, I suspect, and I think that a lot of people are going to be very happy. But we've been friends for a long time. We've been friends from before the last campaign in 2016 and then 2020. And I've had a great relationship to India and to Prime Minister Modi. We've been friends, and I think he's a great guy and doing a terrific job. It's not an easy job he's got. So, but we've known each other a long time. Good man.
Right. That's an interesting thing you said, that you said you're still making up your mind, but a lot of people will be happy with the decision.
I think so. A lot of people will be, and a couple of people will be unhappy perhaps.
Okay. This is quite an interesting hint that we've got there, Shalabh Kumar. You think it's now almost a done deal that President Trump is going to run again? And should he run again? Is he the obvious choice?
Of course he should run again. That's our view. And it'll be great if he runs again. I mean, our community, they will just love to have Trump 47. So that obviously will be great. And
out of the Republican slate, there's no other. Is he the obvious choice? There's no other.
He is the Republican Party.
He is the. Would you agree with that, President Trump? Are you the Republican
Well,
Party?
I guess based on the poll numbers, I'd have to agree, because we blow everybody away, and that's because we did a great job. We had a great 4 years. Then we had a terrible election. A terrible, terrible thing happened. It was a rigged election, and we'll now see what happens. But that was just a terrible thing happened to our country, because our country it's suffered so badly over the last 2 years. When you look at inflation, when you look at Afghanistan, when you look at all of the things that have happened that have been so bad, and we were doing so well before that. So we'll make a decision very soon.
Is anyone, like they say, Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, is he a threat at all?
I mean, I was the one that was instrumental in winning him an election. I helped him win an election. I think he's a good person, but if you go by the polls, I'm leading by a lot.
You're way ahead.
Like 40 points or more.
Okay. But the thing is, President Trump, that we're having this interview at a very unusual time. As you get ready to build up your political momentum, you're also battling all these charges, the raid on Mar-a-Lago. You've spoken about that quite a lot.
That was a terrible thing, and frankly, that's had a big impact on the population. But that was a terrible thing that they did, raiding my home. That was a terrible thing, and I think it's boomeranged and very negatively on them.
Where were you when it happened, and how did you first come to hear about it?
Well, I was in a different location. I wasn't in Florida, and I was called. And when I heard about it, I said, that's strange. And it was strange, and it was very strange to the public also, to the American people, because they were not happy with it. And if you look at the result of that, you can see that they were not happy. They're very angry about it.
And you see this as, is it, because it's been seen by the Republicans as an act of vendetta. I mean, the government says, look, there's serious charges, but you say this is vendetta?
It's a very easy way to actually let the Hindu Americans and India know, because there's a big parallel. From 2002 to 2014, everybody wanted to put Narendra Modi in jail. He was being vilified. They wanted to put him in jail. Now he's the most popular man.
So you're saying
the
that
same thing is happening to for 6 years, half the time now.
Sure.
Half the time, president has been, witch hunt. First Russian collusion, nothing. Impeachment, nothing. I mean, this thing, the raid absolutely makes no sense.
But President, when the FBI says we found secret documents, the Justice Department releases that photo, files scattered on the floor of Mar-a-Lago with top secret
that they put there. No, it's a setup, and it's weaponization, and it's inappropriate to do, and it's a bad thing for our country. And this is like Russia, and the Mueller report, and all of the hoaxes that we've had to go through, and it's become standard American politics, and it's a disgrace.
You're saying that it's weaponization to the extent that you've actually called Joe Biden the enemy. He says Trump and the Trump movement is a threat to democracy. You say that Joe Biden is an enemy of the state. What means?
Well, I will tell you this. He's done very badly for our country. Our country has never been in a position like this. We're weak in many ways, and we're certainly, the economy is horrible. What's taken place on the economy, what's taken place with inflation, and almost everything we're doing right now. And we've lost our voice and our respect worldwide. You look at Russia, take a look at Russia invading Ukraine. That would have never happened. Watch what's going to happen with China and Taiwan. You take a look at that, because already those ships are lining up, and that could be next. None of these things would have happened. Inflation wouldn't have happened. We were energy independent, and now we're begging everybody for energy. We have blackouts all over our country. We've never had anything like that. So very bad things have happened to this country in 2 years. Things that are absolutely unthinkable.
Okay. Which is why you say Joe Biden is an enemy of the state. But were you to run again, you think you could beat him? Because he's running again. Well,
in the polls, I'm leading by a lot.
Okay.
I would think I beat him easily. I think I beat him last time. I don't think. If you look at the numbers, you look at what happened, I beat him by a lot last time. I got many millions of more votes last time than I did the first time. In 2016, we ran a great campaign, but I ran a better campaign in 2020.
A recent Wall Street Journal poll, however, showed that Joe Biden is actually leading Trump by 6 points. This poll was conducted on the 1st of September of this year. It was better than 2016, the campaign?
Yeah, I think we ran a much better campaign. I got 12 million more votes, or close to 12 million more votes. I got more votes than any sitting president in history.
12 million more votes than
the previous...
than the previous time. But overall, the President Trump, that's the question that keeps coming up, that in a democracy, India is considered the world's largest democracy, you're the world's oldest, and that's why we have this relationship. That democracies function on the principle that the losing side concedes defeat and the winning side
I agree with that.
Takes over
when you lose.
The final count of the Electoral College votes for the 2020 US presidential elections has Trump at just 232 votes, with Biden at 306. In this case, you haven't, in a sense, you still haven't accepted the outcome of 2020. You still believe it's a stolen election.
Take a look at what happened 2 weeks ago. It came out, the head of Facebook, Zuckerberg, said the FBI came to him and told him there's Russian disinformation, don't say anything. And they went to the media and they suppressed it. That's a major form. This isn't just ballot stuffing. What they're doing was so bad. And what they're doing is a disgrace to our country. And nobody did anything about it. And it made, they say, the pollsters say it made from a 10 to a 20-point difference. But even with that...
In the election outcome.
Oh, it was a tremendous... They suppressed all of that information. Probably illegally. I assume it was illegally done, but it should have never done.
You think that this is a kind of a problematic area when you have an election outcome and then one side doesn't accept?
No, Absolutely not. You know, I mean, we all know there is a lot of fraud, voter fraud in United States. You know, all the Democrat-run cities, Democrat-run districts, we know that, they're counties. This time, because of the pandemic, it was much bigger. It was much bigger. That's what essentially happened. Now, if, first of all, let me also tell you that Hindu Americans and India in general, they don't give a hoot about this. I'm in the community. I go there, travel there every day. They don't give a hoot about this.
He feels strongly about it. So.
Yes, he does feel strongly
I feel strongly
about it.
about a lot of things. You know what I feel strongly about? Our country. And our country is going to hell. That's what I feel strongly about.
And
when you look at what's happened to the U.S., when you look at what's happened in 2 years to the United States, we've never been in a position like this, ever.
But, you know, some would say, President Trump, that this idea of a kind of a stolen or a illegal election can have consequences in terms of what happened in January 6th. Some would say is a consequence of that there was actual violence.
Democrats have said it.
Isn't that a
Democrats have said it for a long time about different elections. They went out and they said the 2016 election was stolen. The same people that now complain were big complainers about 2016. They say, I stole the election in 2016, which I didn't do. But the same voices that you hear said, no, there's tremendous proof, there's tremendous evidence. And again, go back to just 2 weeks ago when Zuckerberg said he was told, Russian disinformation, don't say anything.
Sure.
Don't say anything until after the election.
If this is such a worry for you, how will you prevent it from happening again?
Well, they're changing laws.
This allegation of
they're changing rules. They're changing regulations. One of the things that happened, one of the very big things, is they did things during the election which didn't get approved by legislatures.
Okay.
And the state legislatures did not approve it. And by law, you have to have it approved. So a lot of changes are being made. It's going to be tougher. Plus, you had COVID, and you had millions and millions of ballots pouring in, and they have no idea what was happening. And bad things happened.
Okay.
And really, the bad thing that happened is what happened to our country, because our country is going to hell. It's a sad thing.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Now that you're saying that, I mean, in the assumption that there's going to be a Trump 2.0, what's going to be your number one priority, especially when it comes to, for America first and then for India?
For America, energy independence. For India, India is doing just fine with your great Prime Minister Modi, my friend.
Okay.
For America, I can only speak for America. We're going to be energy independent. We're going to have a great economy, roaring economy again, which we don't have right now.
Okay.
We set every record on jobs. We've never had an economy like the economy that I had. But we'll bring back energy independence, and we will do things that we haven't been able to do in the last 2 years.
Vasu, I'd like to say something on there.
India, yes.
I've always said, okay, I've stated this. President Trump is Reagan on steroids. If you look at the first 3 years of the economy, 7 million jobs added in 3 years.
Okay.
3.5% unemployment, $6,000 per household income increase. 401ks doubled.
Okay.
Okay? There is nobody, I'm a student of history. There's nobody in the 20th century who was a better president than President Trump. And if in 2024, if President decides to run, it's going to be a landslide.
And I think India has never had a better friend than me. I don't believe that, and that's one of the relationships that, I've formed. But India has never had a better friend as president than me, and with my relationship with
even
Prime
compared
Minister.
to previous Democrat
I
President Obama, Biden now, no?
I think my relationship, you'll have to ask Prime Minister Modi, but I don't think you've ever had a better relationship than you had with President Trump.
If you were in charge, you mentioned Russia, Ukraine, Biden's, according to you, mishandling of it. What would you have done?
I would have done absolutely nothing, because it was understood that you're not going into Ukraine. It was understood. We wouldn't have had to do anything. That was never going to happen. And by the way, for 4 years, it didn't happen.
Okay.
And now you see China with Taiwan, where ships are sailing around it, lots of ships, lots of action going on. But with President Putin,
yes,
he would have never gone in. if I was president. Never. Not
Why-
even a chance.
Why do you say that? What do you think would have
I
made
know
him
it.
think twice?
I know it. And you know
Peace
what? He
through
didn't.
strength. Peace through strength.
He didn't go in.
Somewhat counter to Trump's bravado on Putin, at the early stages of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Trump had actually praised the Russian leader, saying that Putin declaring parts of Ukraine independent was genius, smart, and wonderful. This was in February of this year. Because he was worried of what? That you might.
You'll have to
I'm
figure
gonna
that
not take it
out.
nicely.
You know what? You'll have to figure that out. All I can say is he didn't go in. There was never even a thought of going in. And when I wasn't there, it formed, and now you have what you have. Hundreds of thousands of people are dead. It could be millions ultimately. Could be a World War III. I mean, frankly, the way that's going right now, that could end up being World War III. But it would have never happened. You wouldn't have had anybody dead. It would have never happened. And it's a very sad thing. That's one of many things, but it would have never happened. The Afghanistan withdrawal, the way that was done, was so incompetent, where the soldiers are taken out first, the military is taken out first. That would have never happened. We would have been out, but we would have kept Bagram, by the way, because we should have kept Bagram, the air base.
I was going to ask you that because in response to that, the Democrats say that the troop drawdown had already started when you were still president. So
No. I brought them down to a level, and then we were going to, and they had to meet a lot of guidelines, which they weren't meeting. But the first thing that you would have done is you would have brought the people out, the Americans out. You would have certainly brought your equipment out. We left $85 billion worth of equipment behind.
Sure.
This would have never, ever happened. We would have been out, but we would have kept Bagram. You know, we gave up Bagram. Bagram is 1 hour away from the Chinese nuclear plant where they make nuclear weapons.
Right.
We should have never given that up. We gave that up.
okay. What about the media buzz that Ivanka might be your running mate? Is there any substance?
That
in that?
Ivanka?
Yes.
That my daughter?
Yes.
I never thought of that one. I've never even heard of that one.
It's in the
That's
media.
an interesting
That's
idea.
new one.
It's been in the media for a while.
Really? That one I have not heard of. But
Maybe Indian media.
Well,
she's a very capable person, that I can tell you. But no, I have not heard that one.
would you consider it?
No, I wouldn't. Not my daughter.
Truth Social, the website, the
doing
social
great.
media platform. What's your take on that? Because there's some sense
So
that it
it's-
didn't go as well as you may want it.
Listen to this guy. It's doing phenomenally well.
Okay.
It's doing far better than I ever thought it could do. It gets the word out, I think, better than Twitter. For me, better than Twitter. I think Twitter's got a lot of problems. And Truth, it's called Truth Social, Truth,
Sure.
is getting the word out. And it's my only platform. It's the platform that I want, that I own and that I want. And the word is out. I guess we have over 5 or 6 million people right now. And it's growing very big and very rapidly. And people are watching it because I'm on
Sure.
it. And other platforms fail, and you'll see what's going on with Twitter. Twitter's getting killed.
Media reports and SEC filings in fact suggest that Truth Social is facing serious financial struggles with an estimated $6 million being lost in the first 6 months of 2022. Do you miss being on Twitter at all?
No, because I think Truth is better. For me, Truth is better.
Okay.
I feel it has a better much better inject than any other thing that I've ever worked on.
President Trump, thank you very
Thank
much
you very
indeed for
much.
talking to us. We hope to see you in India one of these days.
We'll be there.
And
We'll be there.
Shalabh Kumar, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.